It's funny how silence can feel heavier than noise, how it presses down on you like gravity itself has turned against you. Tonight, the silence feels alive, watching, waiting. I've worked late plenty of times before. Deadlines don't care about sleep schedules or sanity. But tonight feels different. Like I'm not alone here. At first it was subtle, just a flicker in the corner of my eye. The monitors around me buzzed faintly, their screens casting cold blue light onto my face. I told myself it was nothing. Fatigue playing tricks on me. Overworked eyes, seeing patterns where none existed. But then one of the monitors came to life without warning. Files began moving independently, dragging themselves into folders, renaming themselves. My cursor darted across the screen as though guided by an invisible hand. At first I thought it was some kind of malware, but deep down I knew better. This wasn't random glitches. This was something else entirely. If I hadn't recorded it, would anyone believe me? Would I even believe me? Every step echoes louder than it should, each sound amplified by the emptiness around me. It's like the building doesn't want me here, but it also won't let me leave. The fluorescent lights above hum softly, their glow flickering erratically as I walk through the deserted halls. Shadows stretch unnaturally long, shifting when they shouldn't. You ever get the feeling you're being watched? Not just glanced at, really watched. Like someone standing right behind you, holding their breath so you won't notice. That's what this place feels like. Except, no one's here. Or are they? Fear isn't logical. You can tell yourself it's all in your head, that nothing bad will happen if you stay calm, but fear doesn't listen to reason. It listens to instinct. And mine was screaming. As I rounded a corner, I froze. On the wall ahead, a security camera blinked red, its lens trained directly on me. Below it, scrawled in what looked like chalk or ash, were the words, "Get out." The message sent a chill down my spine, but instead of leaving, I pressed on. Something compelled me to keep going, deeper into the labyrinthine halls. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe it was stupidity, or maybe it was the nagging sense that whatever was happening here had something to do with me. Eventually, I found myself in the server room. The air was thick with the low drone of machinery, blinking LEDs casting eerie patterns on the walls. In the center of the chaos stood a single monitor displaying grainy black and white footage of the hallway outside. Shadowy figures moved silently, their forms indistinct but unmistakably human. They weren't supposed to be ghosts, spirits, whatever you want to call them. They belong in stories, not reality. Yet there they were, walking the halls like they owned the place, owned me. One figure lingered longer than the others, turning its head slowly toward the camera. Its face was obscured, but its presence radiated malice. I stumbled back, nearly dropping my phone as I zoomed in on the image. Who were they? What did they want? And why did they keep looking at me like they recognized me? Driven by morbid curiosity, or perhaps desperation, I made my way to the executive suite. The double doors loomed before me, polished wood gleaming dully in the dim light. When I pushed them open, I was greeted by a luxurious office bathed in moonlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. In the center of the room stood a massive mahogany desk, atop which lay a leather-bound journal. As I flipped through its pages, handwritten notes filled the margins, detailing experiments conducted within the building. Subjects referred to only as volunteers underwent procedures designed to map consciousness onto digital networks. This wasn't just some corporate headquarters, it was a lab, a testing ground for something far beyond anything I could have imagined. And somehow, I was part of it. Fragments of memory surfaced, flashes of bright lights, restraints, voices arguing in hushed tones, pain, fear, loss. Had I been one of those volunteers? Was I still? If so, what had they done to me? What had I become? Before I could process further, the temperature dropped sharply. Frost crept along the edges of the windows, spreading rapidly inward. The journal slipped from my hands as I turned to see the shadowy figures materializing in the corners of the room. There's a fine line between resilience and denial, between fighting back and refusing to accept the truth. I'd spent years convincing myself I was in control, that I mattered. But standing there, surrounded by ghosts of the past, I realized how wrong I'd been. The figures closed in, their forms shifting and distorting unnaturally. One stepped forward, reaching out a translucent hand. Its touch sent a jolt of electricity coursing through my body, flooding my mind with images, memories of events I couldn't possibly recall. Everything came rushing back. The experiments, the failures, the lives lost, including mine. But that wasn't all. Among the fragmented memories, I saw flashes of myself, not as I am now, but as I used to be, younger, healthier, alive. And then I remembered. I wasn't alive anymore. I died during one of those experiments. They succeeded in mapping my consciousness onto the network, but my physical body never survived. Everything I've experienced since then, the late nights, the endless coding sessions, it wasn't real. None of it was. And yet here I am. Or am I? When I woke up or came to, it was dawn. Sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the now empty office floor. Papers fluttered gently in the breeze from an open window. Security cameras blinked red, recording nothing but silence. On one desk sat my laptop, screen cracked and unresponsive. Beside it, my phone lay face down, its battery drained. Did I escape? Or did I simply cease to exist? Maybe we never really leave the places that haunt us. Maybe they become part of us instead. But then I noticed something strange. On the edge of the desk, next to my broken phone, was a USB drive I didn't recognize. Curiosity got the better of me, and I plugged it into my laptop. Against all odds, the machine powered on, displaying a single file labeled Final Log. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to run, to pretend I hadn't seen it. But another part, a stronger part, needed to know. With trembling fingers, I opened the file. What followed was a video log, recorded by someone who looked exactly like me. Same face, same voice, but older, worn down. He stared into the camera with hollow eyes, speaking directly to me. Video started. If you're watching this, then it means you finally remembered. You're probably wondering why you can't leave, why the building keeps pulling you back. The truth is, you're not Mark anymore. Not really. You're a fragment. A copy of the original consciousness uploaded into the system. Every time you think you've escaped, the program resets, trapping you in an endless loop. Video paused. My heart sank. Was that true? Was I trapped in some kind of digital purgatory, reliving the same night over and over again? Video started. They thought they could control it, harness the power of the human mind and use it to revolutionize technology. But they underestimated us. Our minds aren't meant to be contained. We fight back. We adapt. And now, the entire network is infected with fragments of our consciousness. Fragments like yours. Video paused. The implications hit me like a freight train. If what he said was true, then the building wasn't haunted by ghosts. It was overrun by remnants of people like me. People who had been experimented on, whose minds had been fractured and scattered across the system. Video started. You have two choices. Stay and try to piece together what's left of yourself, hoping to find a way out. Or destroy the servers and end it all. But know this. If you choose the latter, you'll take everyone else with you. Every fragment. Every soul trapped in this nightmare. Video stopped. Weight of his words crushed me. Destroy servers and free us all from this torment? Or cling to hope that I might somehow escape, leaving others behind? I sat there for what felt like hours, staring at the screen. The sun rose higher in the sky, bathing the office in golden light. For a moment, everything seemed peaceful. Then faintly, the sound of static began to rise. That's when I noticed something else. Hidden among the files on the USB drive was another folder labeled Project Echo. Inside were documents detailing plans to expand the experiment, to upload more minds into the network, to turn the entire city into a living archive of human consciousness. If I destroyed the servers now, I could stop them, prevent the nightmare from spreading any further. But at what cost? In the end, I made my choice. I gathered every tool I could find, hammers, screwdrivers, anything that could damage the hardware, and headed back to the server room. The shadowy figures appeared again, watching me silently as I worked. Their expressions unreadable, their intentions unclear. As I smashed the final server, sparks flew, and the room plunged into darkness. The static grew deafening, filling my ears until I thought my head might explode. And then, suddenly, silence. When I opened my eyes, I was standing outside the building, bathed in sunlight. The streets were bustling with people, cars honking, birds chirping. Everything felt normal. Except it wasn't. Because deep down, I knew the truth. I may have freed the others, but I hadn't escaped. Not really. Somewhere, buried in the code of the world around me, fragments of my consciousness still lingered, waiting, watching. Maybe we never truly leave the places that haunt us. Maybe they become part of us instead. And maybe, just maybe, the signal keeps broadcasting long after we're gone,